Howdy, howdy. This is Jordan Jones. Welcome to the Writer's Playground. And today we are going to explore the book Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee with help from Lisa Jones. And it's the companion book for the movie of the same title, Do the Right Thing, by, once again, Spike Lee. And this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's a really good companion book because he includes a journal for pre-production before the script was actually written and the movie was executed. He also has production notes. He has the actual script included. He has information on everybody that participated in the film. So I believe the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to list out some of the key players in the film. So, obviously, number one is Spike Lee. He produced, he wrote, and directed the film. He also played the main character Mookie in the film. He did an excellent job of that. Really excellent job. His acting skills are underrated. Co-produced by Monty Ross. Let's see, the line producer was John Killick. Photographed by the very talented Ernest Dickerson. Edited by Barry Alexander Brown. Original music score by Bill Lee. Production design by Wynn Thomas. Robbie Reed was in charge of casting. Costumes were designed by Ruth Carter. And let's get into the actors. There's a lot of people involved. One thing you learn doing research about movies is there are so many different people involved. So I will give everybody their shine, but for now I'm just going to go into the main contributors that we normally recognize, which are the cast, the main actors and actresses. So to the rest of the staff, I'm sorry, I'm going to get to you, I promise, but I just wanted to get the main players out of the way. So, Sal, who is the father of Vito and Pino, he has Sal's Famous Pizzeria, which is pretty much the central point of the entire movie. A lot happens in and around Sal's Famous Pizzeria, played by the talented Danny Aiello. Demare, who is one of my favorite characters, played by Ossie Davis. You see him throughout the film. I can relate to him because he is an alcoholic, and I've struggled with that myself. But just like me, he has wisdom to offer, and, has more dimension than just, his abuse problems. He, often has hidden gems of wisdom. He has life experiences. So I love how in the notes, if you look at the notes beforehand when Spike Lee was fleshing out his characters, you see Demare's evolution in a way. You see how he writes about him, develops him, and how, over time through the journal, it's like, oh yeah, there's going to be an old alcoholic named Demare. He thinks he's, the mayor of the block, basically, unofficial mayor of the block. And he develops his personality. Of course, he has the next actress, who I'm going to introduce, who is actually married to him in real life, whose name is Ruby Dee, very talented actress, who goes by the name in the movie of Mother Sister. And it's not entirely clear if they had a relationship or not. I think Spike Lee, he played around with the idea in pre-production, and then as the movie went on, it kind of alluded to them maybe having a past relationship. I know after the riot, he ends up sleeping in the bed with Mother Sister. So obviously they have kind of a adversarial relationship throughout most of the movie, but at the end of the movie, they do end up, I wouldn't say coming to peace, but they do end up, spending the night together. Nothing sexual, but they did spend the night together, and it, from, I guess from my opinion, I'm assuming that he intended to frame it like they had a relationship in the past. Maybe the alcoholism from Demare ended up ruining the relationship, but I digress. Mother Sister, played by Ruby Dee, is depicted throughout almost the entire film sitting in the window. She sees everything in the neighborhood, knows everything, and she's very wise. Uh, a little rough around the edges, you could say, but she, yeah, a little rough around the edges, but she's a great character. Um, Her and Demare, who once again, Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee are married in real life. They have a awesome rapport throughout the movie. A little adversarial once again, but very entertaining, definitely. Vito is played by Richard Edson, and Vito's the little brother and one of the sons of Sal, once again played by Danny Aiello, who works at Sal's famous pizzeria. And I love this line that Spike Lee wrote about these gentlemen, where he says basically him, Pino, and Vito. And Pino, by the way, is the older character, the older brother, son of Sal, played by the very talented John Turturro. You'll know that name. You see him everywhere. Just like there's some heavy hitters in this movie. Ossie Davis, been a long time actor. Ruby Dee, long time actress. See Samuel Jackson later, but we'll get to the others. But right now I want to focus in on the relationship of Pino, Vito, and Mookie. So throughout the movie, Pino and Mookie, very adversarial. They do not like each other. Pino especially doesn't like him, doesn't like black people in general. They have some kind of funny but pointed race interactions. So that's interesting. They use all kinds of terms in the movie. Like, I had no idea what Mulan Yan meant before this movie's, which is apparently a very bad term for black people. I guess it's Italian. I didn't know. But him, Pino, and Vito, it's a complicated relationship. Vito actually likes Spike Lee's character Mookie, and Vito basically gets bullied by his brother Pino. But I love this line that kind of sums up the relationship of Pino, Vito, and Mookie in one fell swoop. Now, this is from the journal portion, so this is before the actual script was written. But Spike Lee writes, Pino, Vito, and Mookie have many similarities. All three are high school graduates and are stuck in dead-end jobs. They are trapped. They will never discuss it among themselves, but Mookie will have the scene where his sister hassles him about low-paying jobs. So you can see that they're basically in the same situation. I mean, they work at the same place. They're probably, I'm sure Pino and Vito made more than Mookie, but they're essentially, minimum wage type guys, high school graduates. And he mentions how all three of them are in dead-end job. So they're kind of in the same situation. And there's also an interesting part of the story where in the journal, Spike Lee talks about how Pino would, wear different clothes. And you can see in the movie he'd wear different clothes outside of work. And then when he got to work, he would switch out and wear, a white t-shirt and everything like that. And there's an element of embarrassment that Spike wrote into the script where Mr. Lee said that basically Pino was ashamed to work there. There are lines where Pino basically questions why they have a pizza shop, in a black neighborhood. why they couldn't have one, in an Italian neighborhood. And, Sal always pushes back. And I love how Mr. Lee gave Sal different dimensions as well. Like, he's generally a good guy, but it's complicated. Nothing's black and white. He's not racist, but he's kind of raised in that type of environment. But he generally gets along with the people in the neighborhood, more or less, more or less. But he has more dimension, and of course, there's the dynamic with Joy, who is Mookie's sister in the film, who is played by. Let me get my stuff together here. Let's see. Excuse me, Jade, played by Joy Lee, who is Spike Lee's real life sister and sister in the film. Who, the line I mentioned before, when I was talking about Pino, Vito, and Mookie's situation, that last line I read. But Mookie will have a scene where Cecil hassles him about his low-paying job. That also comes up in the film. Mookie, he works, always gets paid, but, he's kind of like a lot of brothers out there. I think he encapsulated perfectly where, a lot of brothers out there are just working. They're doing what they can. They're trying to get money, but might not have a sense of direction or a sense of future, maybe like a long-term type of plan. So, very interesting character. I think I'll leave it at that. I'll do more deep dives on the characters and the people behind the film as I go along, but I don't want to go too long with this, so I will just have to break this up. This is a writing podcast. I review books, and, I'll do a little bit of writing too. So this is I'm probably going to have to do several videos just to break this book down, just because it's really important to me. I love Mr. Spike Lee's work, and I want to do him justice. So, thanks for listening, and I will see you guys later. Out.